All right, hey, good moms. I'm Sunny, and I'm with my good friend Lindsay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back. We're here. We love when you
Yeah.
guys join us and you listen to all of our crazy stories of things that are happening in our life. And Lindsay, of course, we got another one today.
Woo!
All right, so we're going to talk about staying up late when our kids
Mhm.
are staying up late. Not all kids like to do this. We're kind of
No.
split in my house. We have like my oldest son who is just turned 15. So
Okay.
he's pretty good about deciding what works best for him. He doesn't stay up super late. Some nights it might be later than others, but then he'll make up for it just like an adult would.
Just
You
yeah,
know, a
exactly.
responsible adult. You kind of
Mhm.
figure it out on a day by day basis. My girls go to bed typically pretty early. They just crash. Okay. They don't
Mhm.
even need a bedtime.
Yep.
And then we have my middle son who, at any opportunity, will stay up as late as he possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of get that because usually kids have a bedtime at least for school or
Yeah.
something, and I know how that can feel kind of restrictive. And as a kid, that's one of the things I liked about the summers is there wasn't as much of a schedule and I could watch trash TV and do stupid stuff during the day, didn't have to go to school, whatever. I could stay up late with my friends.
Totally.
That was fun. Today's day and age usually looks a little bit different. I have found that, at least in the case with my son who likes to stay up late, he's not having like friends over. It's not like that. But because he has access to different devices,
Mhm.
it's kind of like the same thing, right? He'll be chatting with his buddies or playing a video game together or something like that up until the parental controls kick in. But he's still up even past that, and he's eating and
Mhm.
he's drinking, and your body reacts like when,
Mhm.
when you're feeding it, when you're drinking, like you're more likely to stay up longer, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
doing different things in your body. And
Wow.
so last night I'm working late, and I come out. I think it's like 12:30
Okay.
a.m. Right, so I walk out. My son is still he's like sprawled out on the couch watching something on TV, but not really watching it. I mean, it was stupid stuff. It was like YouTube shorts or something like that.
Mhm.
And I'm like, honey, it's really time to go to bed. And he fought me tooth and nail because I am messing with his summer schedule, right? I was gone for a couple months, and, dad goes to bed really early. So he had this time to himself, right? And his brother goes to
Yeah.
bed early as well. And so I said, okay, you have school starting next week. You
Yeah.
can't go from staying up to God knows how long, because I ended up going to bed. I told him, I said, by 1 a.m., you need to be in bed, but I'm
Yeah.
going to bed now. And so who knows what happened because, I
Yeah.
didn't have a camera on him.
Yeah.
And I said, by tomorrow night, which is tonight,
Yep.
you need to be in bed by 11 because his school time is closer to like 9:30. That's just what he needs because he has to get up at 5:30 in the morning to get ready for school.
Right.
So, like, that's just what his
Yeah.
body needs in order to function. And so
Correct.
I'm going, oh crap, I have like a week to get his body back on track
I
of
know. I know.
sleeping. And then he sleeps in. This drives his dad crazy. He sleeps in until like, he'd sleep in until noon if we let him
Correct.
because he's up
Yeah.
so late. And the only
Yeah.
thing he has to do right now before school starts is he's got football practice, but that's in the evening. So in his mind, he's just kind of, I'm doing my responsibility. I got football practice. And then he wants to stay up for 5 or 6 hours after football practice. But I'm like, yeah,
Right.
that's not going to
Yeah.
fly.
No, it's not. And I totally get this. Whew, I remember these days. And yes, our kids, my goodness, one of the biggest things, there's studies out there that are showing how much a lack of sleep is affecting our high schoolers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
part of it is because they should never start high school before, 9 a.m. Anyway, that's the age where they really do need to like get into a circadian rhythm that more follows the sun. Right.
Sure.
So one of the things you might try is giving your son one of the studies, the research studies that just says, hey, just want you to check this out because this is going to affect you for quite some time.
Right.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, while you have 1 week to shift him,
Yeah, right.
one of the things to ask is maybe what is it that he's getting out of staying up late? So my son could also do the same thing at that same age. It was like he would just love to be by himself. Nobody else was up.
Yeah.
He had the place to himself. It was giving him a lot of freedom
Yeah.
and a lot of ability to just be in his own little world. So
Right.
maybe, just maybe, there's another way that he can get that, or
Mm.
he could see a way to create that without having to stay up so late. Maybe there's some other thing that could take place. So that would be a good question to ask him. But
Yeah, that's a
go
good
ahead.
point.
No, go ahead. Have you tried that? Or you were going to
Well,
say something?
I haven't tried that with him, but I
Yeah.
was just thinking that's how I am. Like,
Yeah.
I like staying up later
Yeah.
because everyone else is asleep and I feel like I'm not going to get interrupted with my work.
Yeah.
If, I don't usually do a lot of stuff around the house at that
Yeah.
time because it's quiet and
Sure.
the lights are low or off or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's the best time for me to work. Otherwise, it's every 5 seconds, mom, 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 mom.
Yeah.
So I totally understand. In fact, when I don't have that, like when we were at my parents' house, my mom stays up regularly until like 2 or 3 in the morning. That's just what she
Wow.
always has. I don't know.
It's just her cycle. Yeah.
It's her cycle. I don't
You
get it.
know?
But it's not like, I mean, she may have had to change it when she was doing work at different hours or whatever, but her natural
Sure.
thing is to want to stay up late.
Well,
And so I never had that time for the
yeah.
last couple months of having it is. It's like it felt like I didn't have a lot of alone time. And I just dealt with it because it was temporary.
It's
You're
temporary.
traveling
And
or whatever. I didn't have
exactly.
my own bedroom either. I had two little girls like right in the room with me all the time. So that's just, you give up certain things when, you're visiting family and friends. But you saying that, I'm like, well, maybe that is it because we've talked about this before. He actually shares a bedroom with his brother. There is no real privacy in this
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. Yeah. So that could be part of it. Maybe he's using that as a space for privacy. And,
Mm.
there's two sides to the equation. One is he's in his teens and he is wanting to have some privacy and some space to grow into who he's going to be. The secondary piece is that he is choosing a path to go to school that has specific rigid hours. It's not like school
Right.
can be adjusted from 11 to 7.
Yeah.
It is from 7 to 3 or whatever it is. And
Right.
sadly, he's learning the skill of going to a job because we all had to learn that at some point.
Sure.
He may be designed to be a second shift kind of person. And the question
Like
becomes,
like my
you know,
mom.
you know, right? So if that's true, what would he be open to? Or these are the things to think about as a parent. Is that child better suited for like a homeschool or an online school situation where they can start and finish at a time that's more in alignment with their regular rhythm? So there's a combination of things, what's possible and what does he need? Because sometimes he may not even know. Like, I didn't even realize it, but I love staying up late so I can be by myself. Oh, cool. Let's figure out if we can give you some really nice Bose silencing headphones and a closet.
It's funny. I actually have found him in the closet because they have like a little baby walk-in closet. I have found him in the closet before, like on the phone or whatever.
So I'm betting that's what it is. He's at a
Hmm.
age and stage where privacy is really important to him. And he just wants that freedom to not have everybody in his shorts, kind of like mom doesn't want it when she's working.
True.
So,
Very true.
but this is hard. For listeners out there, if you have more than one child, you're constantly in this balancing act of they're all different people.
Mhm.
You and your spouse are different people. We all have our different needs, but there are ways to get creative that helps them, at least for a week or two, have that extra something that goes their way. Meanwhile, he's choosing to play football at a school that requires you to be like a job. You got to be at your job when they say your job is there. Otherwise, you don't get the perks.
That's right.
That's the way that works. So he's learning a valuable lesson, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think what I'm going to do is monitor him. So next week he starts back to school, and that's where things really get crazy because again, he's up. He has to be up by 5:30 in the morning because
Yep.
he's got to be on the bus about an hour later, and he has to take his time in the morning. He's one of those kids. And
Okay.
then, all day at school, and then he's home only for a couple hours before he's got to go to football practice. This is where it's going to get really intense. And I
Right.
see that coming like starting next week. And I'm going, oh my gosh, like he's in for this rude awakening. But I'm just going to monitor it because I did have kind of a little heart to heart with him last night.
Love it.
And, I was asking him about school and, oh, I heard you signed up for Spanish. We were just talking about some stuff. And he doesn't have a very favorable view of school right now.
Mhm.
And, I mean, what kid does really? But,
True. Yeah.
I homeschool my girls. And I've always said to the boys, if you ever want to do this, this is an option for you too.
There you go.
And they've fought me for various reasons.
Sure.
Sometimes it's related to school sports, but even this football stuff that he's doing isn't tied to the school. It's
Oh, that's
separate.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So there
So
may
I
be
might just
something there.
monitor this and see how it goes, and then
Yeah.
see if maybe you're right. Maybe he is kind of coming into his own and realizing that he would prefer a different schedule. Maybe
Mhm.
this is something that could push him into more of a homeschooling thing because it's always been an option for him. He's
Yeah.
fought it,
Yeah.
because of friends and sports, basically.
I
But
get it. Oh,
yeah,
he sounds like a perfect second shift kind of kid.
yeah,
And homeschooling
interesting.
could be an amazing option if you said that the benefit would be you don't have to get up until 9:30. We'll start class at 10:30 after you've eaten something so that your
Right,
brain is functional. And
right,
then we're going to go and you're going to do this until football practice.
right, right.
That's a different schedule, but it might be something you'd be interested in. And so I think
Maybe.
in the teens is when the kids start to really begin to come into their own. And just a quick other little story. Because of my son wanting to have that same kind of a schedule, and the school didn't have that schedule, and back then there really wasn't a homeschool option that was available to us,
Sure.
he became really addicted to video games as
Mm,
his escape mechanism to have his private time.
mm,
And so, something to pay attention to for parents out there is that, if they can't get their private time that looks like late night and they're reading or whatever, they're going to find an escape mechanism
yeah,
somehow.
that's a good
And that
point.
became his. And he would even tell you that. It's not like I'm speaking out of turn, but that
Sure.
is exactly what happened. And he goes, yeah, I just got totally involved in my games and my friends and the this and the that through video so that I could have my own time. That was the only way he could carve it out in his mind.
Yeah.
So just mental note, it's something to pay attention to. And all of our kids have different schedules. Welcome to parenthood.
Yeah.